everybody, it's Hexa, and in today's video we are going to be drinking matcha tea every day for 1 week and seeing how we feel about it. I'm just gonna jump right in because I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions. Why am I doing this and how is this relevant to my channel? So as you guys can see, today we're wearing our Don't Happy Be Worry shirt. That means this is kind of a mental health video. How does matcha tea have anything to do with mental health? Well, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you. So one of the first major lifestyle changes that I made when I first started noticing that I was having a lot of anxiety was that I cut out caffeine, specifically coffee, from my regular daily routine. At the time I was working as an English teacher and I was tutoring kids at their homes, teaching them English, and every single time I would go to one of my students' homes, their mom would offer me coffee. And I would drink the coffee just to be polite, even though I knew that I probably shouldn't be drinking it. And lo and behold, either halfway through the lesson or when I was on the taxi on my way home, I would start having an anxiety attack or a panic attack. So why is that? Why is coffee such a big trigger for anxiety? So if you think about it, what is one of the first things that happens when you drink coffee? Maybe you notice this only when you drink a little bit too much coffee. What's the first thing that happens? Your heart starts beating faster and your hands maybe get a little bit jittery and shaky. And on the flip side, what is one of the first things that happens when you get an anxiety attack or a panic attack? Your heart starts beating faster and your hands get shaky or jittery. Do you see where I'm going with this? So a lot of the times I feel like drinking coffee or having too much sugar or too much caffeine really strongly mimics a lot of the symptoms of a panic attack. And so that confuses your body. It can't figure out, why is my heart beating faster? Something must be wrong. I must be in danger. And then that kind of physical sensation that you get from consuming caffeine just builds into this, it has like this snowball effect where everything in your body just physiologically and psychologically goes off and you start freaking out. That being said, I really like being able to have a little bit of caffeine or something to perk me up. I mean, I've never been a big fan of coffee or caffeine because even before my anxiety, it always had negative effects on me. I would get like an upset tummy because it messes with my digestion. I would get stomach aches. I wouldn't be able to sleep. It wasn't so much that, like, coffee never made me feel more awake. It just made me jittery, and then it didn't let me fall asleep when I wanted to. If I ever had coffee after, say, 2 p.m., there was no way that I would be able to fall asleep at my normal time. So I've never been a big fan of coffee. It's never been good for me, but there have been times in my life when I've been a regular coffee drinker just because everything in my life was way too hectic and I wasn't eating and I wasn't sleeping and I just needed sugar and coffee to get me through the day. However, now that I've been adopting a slightly more healthy lifestyle, I still want to find a way to get that energy boost that you get from caffeine, but maybe in a way that is a little bit healthier and doesn't come with all of those negative side effects. That is where Tenzo Tea comes in. Tenzo Tea is a pretty new business. They are a startup. I actually heard about them from Yes Theory. Yes Theory is an awesome YouTube channel. I highly recommend you check them out. I will link them down below. So I've taken down a few notes about Tenzo Tea if you guys see me looking down. They sell ceremonial grade matcha tea, which is grown and handpicked in Kagoshima, Japan. They are organic and pesticide free, chemical free. Did I mention it was ceremonial grade? No, I'm not sure what that actually means. I'm going to call them later this week and kind of ask them a couple questions about the brand and give you guys more information, so that will probably come later in this video, depending on the decisions that editing Hexa makes. They also work with the Thirst Project, which I read a little bit about them on the website. I think what they do is that they build wells in impoverished communities where there isn't safe and clean drinking water. So for every bag of Tenzo Tea that you buy, they will provide one person with 1 year of clean drinking water. I think that is so amazing. Obviously, I mean, it's such an effortless way to support charity, so I would highly recommend that you purchase from Tenzo Tea just to, you know, do something good for the world if you're interested in trying matcha tea. So a little bit about pricing. They sell a 30-gram bag and a 100-gram bag. For 30 grams, it is $21.99, and for 100 grams, it is $46.99. And you also get to save 20% if you subscribe. Also, sorry, I forgot, I talked to Tenzo Tea a little bit on Instagram. We kind of messaged back and forth, and they gave me a little bit of information, really good information about what makes caffeine from matcha different from caffeine from coffee. Okay, so they said there's a rare amino acid called L-theanine in matcha that works in tandem with caffeine to give a calm, focused, and energized feeling. L-theanine promotes alpha waves in the brain, which are the same brain response found during meditation and yoga. What that sounds like to me is almost like the caffeine and the L-theanine in matcha helps, like it works together to kind of put you in this flow state, you know, the famous flow state where you're super just focused and motivated and working really well on whatever it is that you need to do. So that's another thing I'm gonna be looking for. Is drinking matcha just gonna make me feel more awake, or is it also gonna help me with my motivation, my focus, my ability to just concentrate on the task at hand? I feel like I've covered pretty much everything that I wanted to cover in the last video that I did in this style, which is my Moon Juice Spirit Dust review that will be up here in one of these corners. That video turned out super long, so I'm just gonna try to rush through this and stop talking. I think I've given you guys enough good information. So basically the answer to the question, why am I doing this, is because I want to see if caffeine from matcha tea can give me that energy boost without giving me the jitters, the anxiety, the heart palpitations, the upset tummies, the insomnia, and all of these other just negative side effects that I get from drinking coffee. I'm super excited. So anyways, let's just open up the box and see what is inside. So this is the box. It is very pretty. It's this light green. It has the Tenzo Tea logo over here and just Tenzo Tea brand name written across the bottom. When you open up the box, you probably can't see because it's too bright, but over here it says feel the healthy energy. Inside we have, this is what it looks like. We have a little kind of pamphlet that says a few tips for your first matcha. We have one bag of Tenzo Tea Matcha Premium Organic Green Tea Powder. This is the 30-gram bag, which is 1.06 ounces. We have a little card which says welcome to the Tenzo tribe and gives a little bit of information about the brand. And then we have a sticker, which I think is so smart, so ingenious. Any brand that includes a sticker in their packages is genius and amazing. I mean, who doesn't love stickers? You know, it's so fun. I love that they put that in the box. I love their branding. I love the way that they packaged everything. I think it's really, there's a lot of attention to detail that goes into it. Everything is just very clean, beautiful, simple, and minimalistic, and everything just ties in together with all the colors and the shades of green. It's awesome. You can tell that they really care about the brand and they put a lot of effort into it. Without any further ado, I'm just going to open my bag of matcha tea, see what that looks like, and yeah. Woo! Woo! Okay, so opening the bag, I just got a massive like little puff of matcha powder explode in my face. This smells really good. The powder seems really finely milled, and they say that it is stone ground. So everything, the whole process of making the Tenzo Tea matcha is very traditional and true to Japanese culture. I forgot to mention, I did green makeup today just for this video, so you guys better appreciate that. Okay, so I didn't even notice they had instructions on the back. The perfect cup is 1 scoop, which should be 1 teaspoon, plus hot water. You whisk it until it's frothy. You can add water or milk. You can pour over ice and then enjoy. So yeah, you can have this hot or cold, but you do need to use hot water initially to kind of activate it. We have more tips in this little pamphlet. This video is gonna be super long, I'm so sorry. Oh, you can use either hot or cold water. Both do the trick. Never mind, you don't need hot water to activate it. Whisk in a M or W motion, so like that. Until a frothy layer appears on top. Shaking or blending works too. Just be sure to remove all of the clumps. I did not see any clumps in this amazing formula of matcha, but you know, noted. Okay, I'm gonna go get a cup. I'm gonna do hot water to start. Mix in my little initial mixture of matcha, and then I think I'm gonna add it to milk. Alrighty, we've got my lovely little daisy cup over here. We're gonna add a little bit of water, like they said. 1 teaspoon or half a teaspoon of Tenzo Tea. It has a silica packet in here, I think. Alright, so that's how much I'm gonna be putting in here. Alright, so they say to mix it in a M or W kind of motion until a frothy layer forms on top. I feel like I probably put too much water. I don't know what 2 ounces is supposed to be. I'm effectively making a mess here, but you know, oh, f me. I don't know, I'm not getting froth, but I feel like that might be because I put too much water. I don't know. I think this is about as mixed as we're gonna get, so I'm gonna get, oh. This is why I don't cook, because I will literally destroy the kitchen. Okay, I think this is about as mixed as we're gonna get without destroying my entire house. So I'm just gonna mix in my cold milk. That looks really pretty. Aside from the mess that I made around the edges, it looks really pretty. There are still kind of some flakes in here, so I think maybe I just didn't mix it enough, but we're gonna get better at that. We have a week to figure it out. Alrighty, so after I have made a giant mess in true Hexa fashion, it is time to try our matcha for the very first time. I'm gonna start with just having 1 cup in the morning, but I will at least once or twice try having it in the afternoon, so sometime after 2 p.m. because like I said, usually if I ever drink coffee after 2 p.m., I would not be able to sleep. Like I would feel tired, but I would not be able to fall asleep. And normally I go to sleep right now between midnight to 2 a.m. and I wake up at 9 every day. I use Sleep Cycle, which kind of listens to your breathing and your snoring and your movements while you're sleeping to determine your sleep quality. So my sleep quality is usually really good, and I'd like to see if Tenzo Tea is going to affect that at all. Okay, before we let our Tenzo Tea settle to the bottom of the cup, let's drink this. The taste is really nice. I mean, with the milk in there, it really doesn't taste like anything. It has a little bit of like it tastes like more like seaweed or like spirulina, if you've ever used spirulina powder or tablets, more than it tastes like green tea, like the type that you get in tea bags. There's nothing about the flavor that bothers me whatsoever. It tastes totally fine and normal. Yeah, I'm cool with this. I don't need to sweeten it. I could sweeten it if I wanted to, but I don't need to. I don't need to cover the taste. That was one big problem with the spirit dust. It did not taste good. So I'm very, very happy and very relieved. This is totally fine for me. All right, done. So that was yum. No problems with it, no qualms about the taste whatsoever. So far, the only one piece of constructive criticism I would give to Tenzo Tea is that I would like to see a little scoop in the Tenzo Tea pouch, or that comes with the Tenzo Tea, to help measure better. They do sell like bamboo whisking tools and measuring tools on the website, but you know how those protein shakes, protein powder things that bodybuilders use always come with like a little plastic scoop in there? I feel like it would be really on brand for them to do like a tiny little wooden scoop. It's a little bit hard to measure, so I feel like it would be really useful if they just did like a teeny tiny little wooden scoop that comes with the Tenzo Tea orders to just help you get the exact right serving size that you want to be going for. All right, that's it. So that was our first day of Tenzo Tea. Gosh, this intro is so long. I feel really happy. This is like some major placebos going on in my body right now. I'm getting all like, oh, you know. Okay, so we're gonna get on with our day and see how we feel. Again, I'm gonna see how it is affecting my sleep. And let me just read you guys the list of kind of adverse potential caffeine effects that I'm gonna be looking out for. So, are we going to get any anxiety, jitters, caffeine crashes, an upset tummy, heart palpitations, insomnia, any of that stuff. That's the whole point of this video, is to see, is matcha or Tenzo tea a good replacement for coffee in people who suffer from anxiety? I don't know. We're gonna see. I'm very excited. It tastes really good. I really want this to work, so let's get on with our week. Tenzo tea is over and I'm ready to give you guys my final thoughts. In the end, I decided not to do any updates throughout the week just to try to keep the video shorter, but I did take some notes and I also had a chance to talk to Robbie, who is one of the co-founders of Tenzo Tea. So I'm just gonna be telling you guys a little bit about my experience and then also about what I learned about the brand from him. All in all, my experience with Tenzo Tea was really, really great. I was pleasantly surprised because I really didn't distinctly feel any of the negative side effects of caffeine that I usually get from things like coffee and energy drinks. I think the only slight negative effect I felt was that maybe like within the first half an hour after drinking my Tenzo Tea, I would kind of start feeling my heart rate picking up, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it is when I'm drinking coffee, and it was just kind of easier to handle. Other than that, usually when I'm drinking coffee, I get stomach aches, I get all kinds of like digestive problems happening, I can't fall asleep. There's all kinds of issues that I get whenever I'm drinking coffee, and I didn't experience any of that with Tenzo Tea. Also, my sleep quality and the times that I was going to sleep at were not affected. I think it was either on the Thursday or on the Friday that I tried to have a second cup of Tenzo Tea around 3 p.m. And even then, even having had 2 cups of Tenzo Tea in one day and the second one being quite late into the afternoon for me, it was totally okay. I still went to bed at my normal time and I didn't feel as though it affected my sleep quality negatively. One of the claims of Tenzo Tea is that it doesn't cause a caffeine crash, and I gotta say, every single day at 3 p.m., like clockwork, I would feel like a ton of bricks fell on my head, but I actually don't think that that was the result of any kind of a caffeine crash, because my typical crash times, like when I'm not drinking any coffee or Tenzo Tea or anything like that, my times of the day when I feel tired are in the morning and then kind of between 2 to 5 p.m. So I have this like normal, natural crash time in the afternoon all the time, and that stayed consistent. Like it was like clockwork. 3 p.m. and I was done. And I actually took that as a good sign, because to me it meant that the caffeine in Tenzo Tea wasn't affecting my system for long enough that it would still be in my system by the time it was bedtime and then would like not let me fall asleep. So I felt that even though it energized me and kind of picked me up in the morning, by the time it was kind of the, you know, middle of the afternoon, the effects had kind of worn off and I was back to my normal functioning. And obviously if I wanted to, I could have had a second cup of Tenzo Tea in the afternoon as well, but for me personally, I just felt like it was better to kind of just work through that time of the day by myself like I usually do, and then, you know, within 1 or 2 hours I will start feeling better. Other than that, I truly did feel like I was a lot more focused and concentrated on the task at hand. It was like if I had a specific thing that I needed to do, I could just sit there and do it and kind of just get completely absorbed into the task. I would even forget to eat, which they do mention that Tenzo Tea can curb hunger if you're trying to lose weight. I personally am not trying to lose weight, but I truly did not feel like I was hungry when I was drinking Tenzo Tea, so I had to kind of force myself to eat and remember to eat. But for me, forgetting to eat when I'm really, really absorbed in a task is standard procedure. It's a thing that I do very frequently. So yeah, with specific tasks, it really helped me to stay focused and concentrated. And then when I didn't have anything in particular that I needed to do, my brain would kind of just go all over the place, and I would keep like working on little bits and pieces of different little things to do around the house in all different directions. It wasn't like a crazy amount of activity. It was just I had the energy to get more things done. And when I didn't have a specific thing that I needed to do, I would kind of just like manage lots of little tasks in different directions. So yeah, pretty much it was a good experience. Also, on the very, very last day of my week of Tenzo Tea, there were no clean teaspoons and I couldn't be bothered to wash one. So I used a dessert fork instead to prepare my Tenzo Tea, and I actually discovered that using a dessert fork can help create that froth much more easily than a spoon. So pro tip, courtesy of Hexa, use a fork instead of a spoon to serve and mix your Tenzo Tea. I'm sure it would have been easier if we had a blender. Unfortunately, we do not, because we just moved recently and we haven't bought one yet. Okay, so moving on to my little interview that I did with Robbie. He was so incredibly nice and patient with me. I told him that it would only take 15 minutes and we ended up talking for half an hour, and he didn't get mad and he didn't hang up or anything like that. He was really nice and answered as many of my questions as we could fit in. So I asked him what makes caffeine from matcha different from caffeine in coffee, energy drinks, and other products, and he said that the main two things that I gathered from it was, firstly, that there's less caffeine in matcha than in coffee, which makes it kind of a gentler source of caffeine. And secondly is the L-theanine, which I talked about earlier, which kind of works together with the caffeine to create that sense of calm and focus. I asked him what it actually means for a matcha tea to be ceremonial grade, and essentially what he told me was that this is a term that is thrown around a lot by other matcha brands, even though they don't necessarily go through the steps to become, you know, certified or confirmed ceremonial grade. But essentially what ceremonial grade means is that there are these Japanese tea masters who are, as the name suggests, masters of matcha tea. They really understand what makes a quality matcha tea. So to be ceremonial grade, you need to have a tea master inspect the leaves and the blend of the matcha and confirm that it is the highest quality matcha. I also asked what makes Tenzo Tea different or unique compared to other matcha teas. So he told me that the vast majority of the matcha brands in the United States all get their matcha from the same place because it's very difficult to grow and the conditions are very particular. And so, you know, most of the other matcha brands are not organic or are all kind of grown in the same place that has the right conditions to be able to grow it. And Tenzo Tea didn't want to have the exact same tea from the exact same place as all of the other brands, so they actually went in search of a different location. So Tenzo Tea is grown in a different part of Japan than the rest of mainstream matcha brands. Their matcha tea is organic, as I said, and they also actually have rights, like the legal rights to their specific blend of matcha powder. I remember him saying something about how the matcha powder is made out of a blend of the newer leaves and the older leaves from the top of the plant or the bottom of the plant and all this kind of stuff. And so their blend is kind of a very specific mix of those leaves, and they have the legal rights to that mix. And they also made an effort to make their matcha powder as pleasant to drink as possible, so it is drinkable with water, meaning you don't really feel the need to have to cover up the taste with anything. When talking about the Thirst project, Robbie said something that I really like. I wrote it down as a little quote here. So he said that he wanted to find something that every single bag could stand for. So the reason why he decided to work with this Thirst project was because he's always been fascinated by water and just really interested and appalled at the fact that there are so many people in the world who don't have access to clean water. So when starting Tenzo Tea, he really wanted to make a change in the world and make a big change, not just something small. He wanted to truly help people from the ground up, because if you don't have your basic necessities like water, then, you know, there's really no way to grow. Apparently when he was talking to the founders of the Thirst Project, he found out that it actually only costs 50 cents to provide clean water to one person for 1 year, which is insane when you think about how little money that is. 50 cents is so little money, but there are so many people in the world who still don't have access to clean water, or they have to walk miles and miles and miles of desert to get to the nearest well. I mean, it's insane. So I really admire Tenzo Tea for wanting to do something good with their brand and their products. And again, like I said, every time that you buy a bag of Tenzo Tea, one person gets clean water for 1 year. So that's such a small and simple way to make a huge difference in someone's life. And the last question that we really covered was, I asked him about some of the negative side effects of caffeine from coffee and other sources, and which ones of those also occur when drinking matcha. So one of the things that I asked about is the fact that coffee has a dehydrating effect. So essentially what he said was that caffeine is a diuretic. In coffee, it's not the actual coffee that is causing you to be dehydrated, it is the caffeine. So anything that has caffeine in it is going to have a slight dehydrating effect. But because Tenzo Tea has, or matcha tea in general, has less caffeine than coffee, it will have a less dehydrating effect. But one of the big positive differences between matcha and coffee, as we all know, coffee stains your teeth. It's been well documented that certain kinds of tea and coffee will stain the teeth over time. But matcha tea does not do that. Matcha tea actually helps with dental hygiene. It has an antibacterial effect, so it is great for your dental hygiene, and it actually keeps your teeth nice and white and shiny and does not cause staining over time, which is really great. I always try to take good care of my teeth, and it's just really nice to hear that Tenzo Tea is a good alternative to coffee that does not damage the appearance or the health of your teeth. Okay, so I think that's about everything that I had to say about my week on Tenzo Tea. All in all, I had a really positive experience with it, and I would recommend this. I would highly recommend this as a alternative to coffee, whether it is that you have anxiety and you want to find something with a kind of gentler form of caffeine, or whether it is that you are worried about your teeth getting stained, or coffee upsets your stomach, or coffee doesn't let you sleep, or anything like that. I really found that most of the problems that occur when drinking coffee don't happen when you're drinking Tenzo Tea. It is just much gentler on the body, and it still has that positive pick-me-up effect. I truly enjoyed the opportunity to be able to talk to Robbie from Tenzo Tea. It was really nice of him to take the time to answer my questions, and I think it's great to support small businesses like this that are actually making a difference in the world. So if you want to try out matcha tea, and if you've been looking for a replacement for coffee for a while, I would highly recommend Tenzo Tea. I really had a great experience with them, and their customer service is amazing. They will answer all of your questions if you just DM them on Instagram or something. Yeah, I really enjoyed my week, and I feel like they're a really good, honest brand to support. Alright, that was it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat for more, and you can donate to my Patreon down below to support me and my channel. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!